What is up, YouTube? It's Lex here, and I'm just coming at you with another tutorial here on the Vassal system because I get quite a few questions about it. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the logistics of Vassals, specifically efficiently loading up your Vassals, and how to make sure you don't accidentally handicap your village by sending your Vassals with incorrect troops, that is, sending your Vassals troops with incorrect wave timing or sizing, because both of those can be quite a problem. So we actually received a new Vassal today. Um, our first shout out to our first fan from YouTube who sent me a mail and was like, "Hey, I saw your Vassal tutorial and I hope you keep doing them." So really appreciate. He will literally be our first fan ever. So props to Fratlam here. So he said, we offered to be a liege lord for him and send some troops. So he accepted. We went ahead and made a spot for him, and we need to send him troops. But what we don't want to do is just send, you know, an entire. First, we have to remove the troops from our castle, right? We don't want to just send him a wave of 200 troops at once, because when the troops are stationing, they go into your attacking, and they count against your unit cap, right? So that's why we only have 13 merchants, which is 130 unit space. And this 140 additional unit space is also taken from our cap. So if we were to just send him 200 troops right now, then we would have 340 of our unit space out of 500 tied up, and we would be unable to raise any sort of army, which means we can't load up other vassals. It means we can't defend ourselves from attacks or clear lairs, camps, and castles that spawn in our area. So how do we address this problem? Well, the way I do it is by having a lot of, first of all, you want a lot of different vassals that are at different distances, right? So this is our first village, so this was the most important. So we took, first vassal was close, relatively close, right? Because we can send troops to him, doesn't take too long. And actually, we'll go ahead and attack a lair from this vassal, right? Why not? And it's as quick as that. Our second vassal we took is still fairly close, but just a little further, right? He's down here. So we can still send troops to him fairly easily. Then once we filled those two up, we had the logistics to supply vassals that were further away. And we took this vassal all the way down here, right? Who actually looks like he might have... Ah, he ranked up to alderman. Good for him. Yep, we can't reach that castle, so... And then our most distant vassals... This is the most recent one before our new fan from YouTube. This was our most recent. And as you can see, our troops are finally landing there in 2 minutes, which... It's been a ride to get here. I think it was a 12, maybe it was 14 hours stationing to get there. So, it's really tough to have your whole village tied up, the unit space tied up for 14 hours. So as you can see, I have vassal support. This lands in 2 minutes. This lands in 40 minutes. This lands in an hour. This is 3 hours and 40 minutes. This is 5 hours. This is 6.5 hours. 8:45, 12:45. See how these are all staggered? This means there's always some vassal support landing, and the second that they land at your vassal, they go out of your unit cap. You can turn them back into merchants. You can turn them back into new units, or use that unit cap space, rather, not turn them into, but use the unit cap space again to create new units and new merchants. If you don't do this properly, you can get your unit cap tied up at all your villages, and this can, we already mentioned how this constrains your ability to have a military, and that can mess up your happiness if things spawn that you need to clear. But probably more importantly is how it can constrain you economically. So if you end up, like for example right now we're capped on stone and almost capped on wood. So if we didn't have merchants and couldn't make merchants because our unit cap was completely tapped, then we would just have to sit here wasting 37,000 stone per day in this case, and what will soon be 79,000 wood, right? That's 80 pallets of wood and 40 pallets of stone, 120 pallets a day. Those are usually close to 150. So that's like 15,000 gold a day we'd be wasting if we had, messed up our unit cap, tied up all our units, and been unable to recruit the merchants that we need to sell things. But in this case, I have 13 merchants, but they're out there doing something right now. Yeah, selling this pox of apples I get, we can talk about that in another video, but one of the first texts I usually get is just to cap out apples, because it gives you just a very cheap, extremely easy to produce commodity that has a building that requires no tech and has very low resource requirements that you can just absolutely produce a tremendous amount of. And you can see the results in my parishes. They have been absolutely, like, apples are 38 because there's 200k at the exchange, right? People from all the way in the UK send merchants to Denmark, where I'm at, to buy my apples, right? So they can flip them in their parishes for a profit. So apparently not too many people are using the apple flood strategy, but I swear I've killed the price of apples in this entire country. I don't think there isn't an exchange in all of Denmark with apples at higher than 45. So, but anyway, I digress. That's a quick explanation of how to time your vassal waves. As long as you think about your unit cap when you're sending them, you won't find yourself stuck in a situation where you can't do anything for hours or you waste a ton of materials because your units are all tied up. You want a nice steady stream of vassals constantly landing over time. And you also see how these are all small amounts, right? I'm not sending 100 troops, 200 troops. These are like 30, 35, 20, 30, 40, 40, 90, 40. Yeah, so these are all small amounts, right? I generally won't send over 100 without a very good specific reason, right? So if you avoid sending over, 50 in particular, and you have vassals at different distances, you'll be in good shape. And if you have a lot to send, stagger them. An hour or two apart really helps. If they're closer, you can stagger them more aggressively. But that's my advice for not tying up your units when you're loading up your vassals. Hopefully, it'll help you, get your vassal network up and running and project your military over a wider radius. Just please avoid bringing it to wherever I'm located. All right, thanks guys. We'll see you for the next guide. Take it easy.